Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we explore the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Milan Kohut, and in each episode, we uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced, the lessons learned, and the strategies fueling future growth. Today, I'm absolutely thrilled to be joined by Stephany Kawaja, founder of She's Better Than Ever, who coaches high-performing women to reclaim their bodies and confidence. She guides ambitious professionals from hiding in oversized clothes to confidently wearing fitted outfits that highlight their strength with visible results in just 12 weeks via personalized coaching. Her straightforward approach ditches fad diets for sustainable mindset shifts and body positive habits that fit busy lives. With that being said, Stephany, let me officially welcome you on Founders Future.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
It's great to have you on the podcast. We're going to jump right into the conversation.
Sounds
What I
good.
love to do with all of my guests is a bit of traveling back in time, right? So before you even had this company, what were you doing before? And then eventually, what was the motivation for starting the project?
Yes, absolutely. So, I feel like the story sort of goes back to when I was in high school. I was very athletic, played a lot of sports. Tennis was my favorite sport growing up, but I also went to an all-girls school. And with that came a lot of comparison. As you're a teenager, you start to kind of really pick up on other people's habits. And there was a lot of, toxic, probably eating habits, I would say, during high school. And I didn't really understand what the impact it was having on me at the time. And then when I went to university, wasn't playing as much sports and started to get into like weightlifting. And I really had no idea what I was doing. So I decided to start working with some trainers and coaches. And ironically, and I can go into like more depth later, but I already didn't have a great relationship with food in my body. And these programs that I had chosen to help me feel better actually made me feel worse about myself because I was so hyper fixated on just like the physical outcome. And that really opened up a big kind of door for me on my own personal and physical transformation journey, as well as like my mindset towards my fitness. And after university, I went into sales. I was a business development representative, an AE, so an account executive, and then I became a sales manager. So I was a very one of the top performing sales reps there, but I was still very into fitness. And when the pandemic happened, gyms were closed. We were all working from home, so I actually started running Zoom workouts with my colleagues. And that sort of sparked a lot of interest in helping other people. And as a side note, which you might not have seen, but I also started an activewear line with one of my friends, and we decided to start doing group workouts during the pandemic to bring people together to get the name out from our brand. And that's really what sparked like me realizing that I had so much more to offer. And even though I was doing well in sales, I just knew, that this was my calling and my passion. And because I had gone through such a challenging time myself with food in my body and figured out a great path for me, I just knew a lot of other women were needing that support as well. And then decided to leave my job, my full-time job, and start my business.
Yeah, it seems like you've really been in sports pretty much your whole life. So in a way, it has been destined for you.
Yeah.
But also, I gotta say that background in sales is gonna come in handy, isn't it?
You know what? There's so many times where I was, I'm on sales call because I would do sales calls on Zoom. It was a SaaS startup company, and we were selling
Mhm.
digital marketing services to small businesses. And, I was dealing with, local plumbers and up to med spas and things like that. And so I would do Zoom calls over the phone, sending contracts, taking payments, chatting with people. And, that's basically what I do now in my business, and everything happens for a reason. You don't realize what experience you're getting that's going to help you in your future. And here I am. So
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, anybody coming into the world of sales, like once you're in, you just realize how many skills you're going to acquire and how
yeah,
it's going to set you up for the future success. So I love it.
for sure.
Awesome. Stephany, let's talk about where this journey got you and what the business really looks like today. In this
Mhm.
part of the podcast, my goal is to really bring the listeners close to, first of all, who it is exactly that you're trying to help right now, but also what does the journey look like for them? So what are the core offerings that you have in place?
Yes, for sure. So When I first started my business, I was more of a general like fitness coaching offer. And I actually had a business coach who was they were a fitness kind of business coach. They would help with sales and marketing and things like that. And I really felt like I was like pushed. They were trying to push me into the direction of just weight loss. And that really felt inauthentic to me because my main goal for starting my business, of course, I understand people want to lose weight and women want to feel confident in their body. Not everybody does, like in terms of weight loss, but like that is often a very common goal for my clients. But a big thing was about actually helping women like be the person they want to be. And that starts with fitness by developing habits, by creating a lifestyle that supports your goals and your business goals, and being able to just feel amazing and not having to feel miserable or low energy or weak while you're dieting or have food constantly on your mind. So that's really the basis now for my program. I've really made a point, and it's been really hard to not kind of follow that specific trend in the fitness space to just go down weight loss, like shreds, 4 week shreds, all that stuff. And so my program is really a full transformational program. So it's a very premium, one-on-one supportive program where I help, high performing women who are really feeling like they have everything in their life down. And the last thing that they just cannot seem to get together is their health and is their habits. Like they feel like they have a good career, they feel like they have great relationships. A lot of them are engaged, getting married, or have a partner, long-term partner, and they know their next step is potentially wanting to have kids, or just this is that main focus. So that's really what we do. We help them lose body fat in a sustainable way. We also help them build muscle. We help them optimize their sleep so that they feel energized. We help them build, morning and nighttime routines, and also obviously training programs as well. So it is really more so of a habit and lifestyle focused so that they can get this physical result while also, being the best versions of themselves in the process.
Yeah, it really looks like you're covering all the aspects of well-being, generally speaking.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
now, so you're saying that as of right now, you're working on a one-on-one basis with all of your clients.
Yes. Yeah.
What would you say is the average duration of a client really working with you so that you can set them up for success?
Yeah, it depends on their goals, but I have a 6 month and a year option. So most of my clients, I would say 90% of my clients are on my 6 month option. And then I like a lot of the times people, as you mentioned at the beginning of this call, like 12-week transformation, they will see a lot of physical changes within 12 weeks, but there's a continuous habit and consistency element to that. And then I
Mhm.
have about a 45% re-sign rate with my clients. And so that's due to either goals changing, just loving the accountability and wanting to keep going. So I would say the average like lifespan of a client between that is about 7.5 to 8 months if you look at it over every client.
Beautiful. Now, I'm also curious to get your perspective on something else because,
Mhm.
well, fitness industry is obviously one of the biggest that we have, right? And there is a lot of professionals in your industry who are mainly aiming towards creating something on a group basis so that they have something that is more scalable in the future, right? When it comes
Yeah,
to one-on-ones, there's only so many clients that you can serve on a daily basis. So, I
100%.
guess my question, what is your perspective on this model or any sort of other model that would allow you to really scale and grow the company in the future?
Yeah, it's definitely so I do have that as an option if someone, for example, I think it really depends on the client and where I am right now, and it's just me as the coach. So my goal is to be able to provide a lot of value and a lot of support with a smaller number of clients. As I scale, 100% we would be introducing more of a group ticket or group coaching offer with maybe some lower touch points because I also understand from the 3+ years coaching now that there are some women that just don't need or want as many touch points, and they're very actually happy to have less of the support in that sense. So I have a membership right now as well. It's not something that is as common with all of my clients, but that is something that I will be continuing to scale out and like work on my offer for as well.
Absolutely. Now, when you really think about the scalability that we just started talking about,
Yeah.
what do you think is going to be your perspective on delegation? And can you see yourself potentially
Yeah.
hiring other coaches working with your methodologies or?
100%. Yeah. So I've actually had some conversations with past clients in my program, and I think that would be the key thing. The next when I do hire a coach would be having someone that has gone through the journey, so they've actually
Mhm.
been in my client's shoes to be able to offer that. I'm very like protective about the quality that I'm offering to my clients and ensuring I'm not just going to hire anybody. I'm really going to make sure that that person has been through what my clients have been through. But it's definitely it's a necessity as I scale and as I want to help more women. I will definitely need to be bringing on another coach for sure.
Absolutely. Now, talking about helping more women, I was just thinking about the fact that obviously having a good client acquisition system, this is going to be the key part of you succeeding, right? So, my question is, when we look at the back end side of your business, what is it that you currently do on the front of marketing and really maybe specifically lead generation to make all of this happen in the first place?
Yeah. So I think it's changed over the last couple years. So I actually have someone on my team helping me with content strategy, content creation, and omni-channel presence. For the first 2.5, really 2 years of my business, I was just focusing on Instagram, but I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket. Instagram is also great, but it's definitely very oversaturated. So focusing on an omni-channel, really content strategy right now. So LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram and TikTok as well. And so that is where those are where all my leads are coming from. And basically, what we do is whenever someone's engaging or following us from either an ad or a piece of content, we send them a message and we just spark a conversation. And if they're looking for more support or if they have certain goals, we'll chat with them about their goals and see if they're a fit and then ask if they'd be interested in hopping on a call to chat more. And that's typically like the manual DM process right now. So we don't use any AI. It's actually me and sometimes the support of my team member that does this. And then we hop on a call, we talk about their goals. And if it's a fit, then they sign on for the program.
Yeah. Looking at the world of AI that we live in, you're kind of special with theming yourself.
Yes.
But yeah. No, people are starting to get sick of the AI and really having those conversations with all these bots and automations. So, obviously, those clients really appreciate the human touch to this communication. But also, I'm curious, everything that you've mentioned is obviously on the side of organic, right?
Yeah.
Now, we all know that this is the strategy that works up until some point. If you really want to grow and scale in the future, there's probably going to be something bigger, maybe ads on social media, maybe LinkedIn, maybe Meta. What is your perspective on that? Have you already dabbled into it, or is it part of your plans?
Yes. So I'm currently running ads. Basically, we're running a DM ad for a certain like lead magnet. And if that sparks interest, that still is a DM conversation though. So whether it's an ad coming from an ad or just coming from an organic follow, they all sort of go through the same process. Of course, the DM ad is just a little bit warmer, so it's easier to go straight into a conversation. And we don't want to bother them either if they're just looking for the guide, and that's great. And hopefully they get some value. But a lot of the times, because they are coming in through that ad, it does just like progress the conversation faster to hop on a call.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Now, as we're talking about all of these marketing strategies, I'm thinking about the fact that there's a lot of effort that goes into it,
it
right? A
is.
lot
It
of
is
those
very manual.
activities, yeah, that you
Yes.
need to take on daily basis. So I'm curious, when you really think about your own philosophy on delegation and really giving the reins away in the future and building out teams, what is that structure going to look like for you? Are you eventually going to create internal teams for both marketing, sales, possibly other departments, or how is it going to look like for you?
Yeah, so the way that I see the next step in the like process of delegation and hiring is basically would be getting someone to support in the DMs and making sure that the women that are coming in and asking for help are getting fully supported. We're attending to their questions and making sure that they feel like there is a great solution for them. And that way I can fully take on the sales calls and my clients. The next step from that would be hiring a coach. I think the very last person I would hire would actually be a salesperson at this point because, I think just there's a very nuanced conversation that happens on calls, and I'm not, again, just helping someone lose weight. And a really big part of the transformation is having women realize that what the program they're about to join is not just about their looks. It is about making this overall lifestyle transformation. And that's a very important thing to have on that first call. So the next step, like I said, would be a coach, and then we would have a salesperson coming on.
Yeah, but to be honest, considering your sales background, it would be a pity if you gave that raise away and didn't do it yourself. And also, this is maybe for anybody else who is in this, who is listening to the podcast. Maybe you're in a similar position. When it comes to founders taking the calls, sales calls themselves, this is a great position to be in because the industry standards for like really top A players as closers is anything between 19 to 23%. But you as a founder could easily get into like 35 up to 55% close
Yeah.
rates. So, and that's never going to change because you as a founder showing up yourself on the call, that has a magic in itself. So,
Yeah,
uh,
you're the face of the business. You know your business the best. You're probably the most excited about the transformation you're able to offer your prospects and clients. So it makes sense.
yeah, yeah. Let's talk about the future though. Obviously, there's a lot of ambition. When you think about specifically the next like 6 to 12 months, what would you say are the biggest goals, targets, revenue milestones that you have set
Yeah.
for yourself?
Yes, for sure. So the biggest targets, especially for hiring from a hiring standpoint, would be basically having like 30 clients at a time. So right now I have about 50, anywhere from like 12 to 20 clients at a time, just depending on their timings of their programs and how many people re-sign. And once I hit that 30 to 35 at a time mark is really when I know that the client support and just quality will start to go down. So that's at that point is when I know I will need to hire somebody else. So at about the 25 client at a time mark, I would be starting to look for another coach. And then from a revenue standpoint, where we're at right now, I mean, in the last year, we've done about 150,000 in revenue. And so the next goal at that point would be if we can get to the 30, 40 clients, you can imagine where that would be. So it really is, I don't really focus as much on, and of course I understand the revenue is important and that is a goal in my mind, but to me, it really is about like these base metrics and benchmarks of my capacity because that's really the constraint right now. It's the capacity to send more messages to also help my clients. And so once I'm at that capacity, that's when I know the next step is going to be to hire someone, not necessarily a revenue standpoint.
hmm Now, aside from this being a constraint, like if you really think about this kind of growth and scaling in the future, out of everything, what would you say is going to be the biggest challenge to make it happen?
The biggest challenge, I think it's just from a marketing lens and positioning my business because there's so many times and it's so hard for me to not just go into only talking about fat loss or only talking about the physical transformation because unfortunately that is what sells and it is what a lot of people do look for. So what I am really trying to figure out is how can I communicate this in a marketing standpoint in a way that showcases that I can help women with that. But this is something that is different than what you've probably done before because this isn't just a fat loss program. So I think that's honestly been the bottleneck to get to that next step. And I think there is going to be some like sacrifice on from a marketing lens of like things that really appeal. And then realizing once we have someone interest, having that conversation and explaining to them this, by the way, I know you're interested in fat loss, and this is also XYZ. Is that something that you're interested and open to doing? And we do that sometimes, and a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, yeah, that sounds amazing. Like, I've never heard about something like this before. So, we're currently testing these options and different things with ads and we're starting to get traction. So I wouldn't really necessarily say it's like a challenge per se. It's just again we're the growing pains of a business and figuring out the best way to stick true to our values and our authentic mission of the business while also ensuring that we continue to grow and scale too.
Exactly. Yeah, I really appreciate you being transparent about this because
Yeah.
this is what true entrepreneurship looks like.
Yeah.
You're never going to be in a position where you can confidently say, I have it all figured out. That's not going to happen. So there's always going to be something, always going to be a next step. Now, Stephany, considering you've been running this project for a couple of years now, if you could travel back maybe to the very beginning of your journey as an entrepreneur, what would be the best piece of advice that you would give yourself?
The best piece of advice that I would give myself is actually just how I answered the last question, which would be ensuring that you stay authentic to yourself and why you started the business. Of course, market research matters. Of course, understanding what your clients need and want matters. But if you started the business for one thing and then you feel like you're starting to lose a bit of yourself in the process just to fit into a mold of what should be done, then that's something to look at and figuring out a way to best align it to your values while also still providing the best support you possibly can in transformation for your clients.
Beautiful. I love to finish on a bit of wisdom. So thank you for providing that. And also thank you in general for taking the time today, sharing this story with the audience and with me. I really appreciate your time and a great conversation.
Thank you
Now,
so much.
if
It was a pleasure.
Pleasure to have you on the podcast. If anybody from the listeners wanted to work with you, get in touch, connect, how to go about it?
Yes, so they can go onto my Instagram. I have it. I don't know if they're watching video here. You can send me a DM in my Instagram bio. It just says DM me the word future me, and we'll get you set up on a call and chat about your goals.
Beautiful. Thank you again. Now, to our listeners, if today's conversation inspired you as well, make sure to subscribe to Founders Future on your favorite platform. And also, if you're a business owner, more specifically a consultant or a coach, or you have an agency and you're trying to scale the business and really enhance both your sales and marketing efforts, also visit closers.io, get in touch with our team, and discover how exactly we scaled our company from 0 to over 30 million per year in less than 3 years. Until then, keep on crushing it, and I'll see you on the next one.